She holds a double master's degree in engineering from Arizona State University. She worked as a research scientist and an engineer for Intel Corporation USA. She is an international best-selling author, Forbes Coaching Council member, and director of her publishing company. She became a certified wellness expert and launched her own business as a health coach, delivering the messages of health and wellness through public speaking. She wrote her first book from her kitchen table while nursing her baby boy as a stay-at-home mom, and ranked it as an international bestseller in multiple categories. She has helped hundreds of writers become best-selling authors. Her mission is to help you change the world with your message by supporting you through the process of writing and launching your book into bestseller status. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Parul Agrawal.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much, Farookh, for that wonderful introduction. I'm truly honored and truly blessed to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Parul. Thank you very much. I've been hearing about you for quite a long time from some of your well-wishers, and I was just planning that I need to bring you to the show. And thanks a lot for finding time. I know that you're busy. I know that you're about to travel to the US. So thanks a lot for finding the time. Parul, international best-selling author, Forbes Coach Council member, publishing director of Parul Agrawal. What is the true Parul?
So the true Parul, is not all these titles, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The true Parul is somebody at this point in life trying to find herself. Today's my birthday, by the way, 2nd
Wow.
April. And
many happy returns of the day.
Thank you. And I was writing my, thanks to some of my well-wishers, my friends, my guides, my coaches, my mentors, I've started writing this gratitude journal, and I've started writing my goals journal.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest goal in my life is to grow spiritually and to work on myself, and be loving, be more kind, and be more, finding joy in essentially everything that I do in every minute of my life, and just being grateful that I have this life, So, and that is what I'm all about. It's just about, me trying to find my purpose in this life and trying to grow spiritually.
Wow. Parul, you are a best-selling author, but before I go to that, you have created a lot of best-selling authors. How do you do that?
Yes.
How do you do that? How do you create best-selling authors? Because there are a lot of authors here in our group, in our as audience, but they may not be best-selling authors. But what is that you could tell them or give them, educate them, that how can you get from a normal publisher, a normal author to a best-selling author? If you could take them step by step.
Sure. So I'm assuming that all of us in the group or listening to the interview right now already have a book in them. Either they are in the process or they're writing one. So what I says people, and I help people who are self-publishing their books essentially, where Amazon, Kindle, or one of those platforms. The biggest thing is obviously to write from your heart.
That's true.
Write your story from your heart. The story that resonates with you will resonate with other people too. So essentially, the first step, people ask me all the time, what should we do? How should we do? And I always tell them the first step is write your book. If you do not have your book, you cannot bring your message out to the world. So write your book. And then, especially if you are a self-published author, get your community involved. And by that, I mean, show them behind the scenes. Most of the authors, they keep writing the book, and once they have written, they tell the world that, hey, the book is out and it's out there for you to buy. I tell people, show the process, show them behind the scenes, because make them feel invested in the process. 81% of people want to write a book in their lifetime, and only 1% end up writing. And how inspire, the rest 80% is by showing them behind the scenes. Just don't show them all the glory, but tell them, hey, you're working. If you have a cover, ask them for their opinions, tell them that you're in the process. Show them not just the highs, but also the lows. And the good point is that, because then finally, when your book is out, they are invested in the book. They have seen all the hard work. They have seen, all the labor that you put into it. And now they're more interested in buying the book. So, get support of your community and publish your book, obviously. Get a launch team ready. So by that, I mean, involving your friends, your families, your colleagues, people who know you, they know your message, they'll trust you. Have them, in your launch team, and request during the launch period, or if they could, share about their book, with their friends and family, or at least, share about the book on social media or their email list. Because you might only know 10 people, but these 10 people know more 10, and these 10 people know other 10. So it becomes like a ripple effect. And then you end up, sharing your message and your book with the people who are not even in your whole circle. And this is really important. If you're a first-time author, if you do not have a big publisher backing you, if you do not really, as you mentioned before we started, if you are kind of a close person, you do not have like a big social circle, then, this essentially works really well. But again, everything boils down to doing it from heart, pressurizing people. Instead of doing it from a point of pressure, do it from a point of passion. Let people that we are scared of is asking for help. What will the other person think if I ask for help? But that asking for help could be the best thing that we can do for ourselves, and also, for our community, because we are telling them by asking for help, that we trust them. And trust is the most important thing, in this world at this stage of time, like at this point of time. And then finally, these are like kind of the background things that go into it. And finally, when the book is out, it depends upon how you set the book on Amazon. So there is something called as bisect categories. So how you are setting the book on bisect categories, playing with it, looking at the algorithm. Luckily, my background is in engineering, and I do book publishing out of passion. So I kind of, collaborated or, married the two professions together, and I'm able to now figure it out and place the book into the right settings and with the right marketing strategy. It's not really difficult to get a book a #1 bestseller on Amazon and Kindle, for that matter.
Wow, that's great. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say that my dream is to publish a book. I never publish a book. Let's put it in that way. So what is the topic that I should go with? What's your recommendation for that? My dream is to publish a book, but it's a wide canvas right in front of me. So as an expertise, what would be your advice to me when it comes to the subject or the topic that I have to select?
Write about a topic that is closest to your heart. Okay. It could be a point in time. It could be, your personal life, or which uh, made you who you are today, or it could be something that you really want to share with the world.
Okay.
If it's your message, if it's coming out from the heart, then you don't need not worry about who is going to read it. Because if you're sharing it from heart, if you're writing authentically, being authentic to your message, then people will resonate to it, whether you write about your personal life or whether you write about your professional life. Like these days, a lot of people use books as a marketing tool, essentially. So a lot of people write about, if you are a coach or a consultant, they write about the stuff that they are doing well, or they have an expertise on, if you're an expert on interviewing people. So maybe, that is the topic you could write about, so that other people could also learn from your expertise. So, two things that I tell people is, if you're using it as a blue card, then write about, a topic that you think will help you grow in your business. If that is not your mission, it's just to write your book, then write on the topic that you really think that you could talk well about. Because at the end of the day, book writing is one thing, and marketing it is altogether a different thing. And if you're not, at least I'm like that. If I don't, if something doesn't speak to me, I'm not able to market it. So, something that speaks to you, your message, you will be able to share it with the world, and it wouldn't even look like selling or marketing, because all you are doing is sharing what means the most to you. So 2 points here: either write the topic, always write about the topic that's closest to your heart. And if it is, you're using it for your growth, then write about something that you think you are an expert at.
Wow. Very great points. I'm going to take note of it. I'm going to take it to another situation. Let's put it, because all my questions are for my audience. So here's my second question. Let's say that I have an idea and I'm very much connected to it. It's my passion, but I don't have the skill to write. I know these are the points that I need to write, but I don't have the skill to write. Today, you get somebody called the ghost writers. What's your thoughts about it?
You can hire a ghostwriter, you can dictate them the entire narrative of the book, and they can help you write it down or pen it down. Another thing that I also tell my authors is that, sometimes what happens, you might not be good at writing a book, like sitting and penning it down, but you might be good at speaking it. Like you might be a fast talker and a fast thinker rather than a fast writer. So what you could also do is essentially, there are a lot of apps that you could use to record the book. So essentially, a 10,000 to 15,000 word book could be recorded in a 1.5 hour to 2 hours, essentially, because that's how fast we speak. So, you could just record the entire book on your app. There is a very good app called Rev, R-E-V. You could record your talk on that app. And then later on, you could hire somebody to transcribe whatever you have written. And then, essentially correct the grammar, and then you could have an editor, a proofreader, and stuff like that. So ghostwriting is one route. Like you could tell your entire book, and they can help you also design the book. And then this is also recording the book using a voice recording app is also another route.
Wow, great. Parul, you wrote your first book from your kitchen table. What was the title of, what was the title of the book?
juicing for healthier families, and that's why the kitchen table was most comfortable, because I was trying different juice recipes and putting them in my book and stuff. So yeah, I definitely did that. And also because I was a nursing mother. I had given birth to my son, and I wanted to lose the weight the healthy way. So I started juicing. And while I was juicing, I thought I'll go on a detox plan, like a 21-day detox. And I started blogging about the detox, I thought because I feel like if I have somebody looking at me, then I'm like so much more, what do you call it? I'm not getting the right word. Like I stick to my plans essentially. And then if you put it out there on social media, like you are doing this detox, and if you don't do it, then essentially now you're accountable to all these people who and I'm the kind of person who doesn't really I was also like doing these workshops and stuff like that on juicing and healthy living. I'm the kind of person who not preach something that I don't follow. So I'm like, I have to follow it if I'm like talking about it. And, that is how this book came into picture, because I was offering all these workshops and people were like, we need to know more recipes, we need to know more tricks, tips and stuff like that. The juicing workshops were only 2 hours long. And then I thought, okay, I'll write a small handout that could be accompanied, and I could give it to my patrons after the workshop. And then once I started writing and testing juices, it became like a big book. So yeah, I mean, essentially wrote it from my kitchen counter.
Wow. And you have the second book as well. I believe you had the second book too, which was best-selling books for last many months or years.
Yeah. So essentially that was my first book. And then after that, I've written, contributed to different books, couple of books. And my latest one was actually, I learned how to write a book. I learned the publishing industry works. I was able to figure out the Amazon algorithm. Then I was connected to a lot of moms who were bloggers, but they didn't have the bandwidth or the time, being a busy mom, to write an entire book. So I thought, maybe I'll just collaborate now that I know how this industry works. I could essentially come out with a compilation with stories from different moms, 20 to 25 stories, and maybe, help these moms publish their book as selling authors. So once I started it, I put the word out. One after another, people kept coming, they kept asking. And then instead of just 20, 25 moms, it ended up being a book with 111 moms with more than 111 stories, and obviously because it was 100 and I had, and then I'm, my mission grew bigger. So now I was having moms from all across the globe, somebody called from India, somebody from US, Mexico, Canada, Australia, Dubai, Kuwait, Netherlands. I'm forgetting now. There's so many, like pretty much like all across the world. So now this became a bigger mission, and that is the book kind of, I compiled and I published, which was published in October of 2015. And through me, like, through my own publishing company. And it's truly satisfies, and I could help these moms share their message. And not only that, I also ended up like forming a community of these moms, and they ended up collaborating on their projects for different things. So instead of thinking about myself, I just thought about the community, and I got so much back in return. So I always tell people, keep doing good, offer your 100%, out there to the community, and good will come back. It could come back in any form. It might not be monetarily, it might not be in the form of name, fame, but you just have to look at all the grace that is attached to doing good work.
Wow, great, great. I could see your mission. It says that your mission is changing the world with your message.
Yes, I hope so, and my message is just that, be kind, be loving, and just, don't think about ROI even before you put your message out there to the world, You will definitely get what you give. Just give authentically and without any hatred to the world. Just spread love.
Wow. Parul, I know that you are coming up with a podcast. I would like to know more about that.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you asked. I'm still in the process of, streamlining my podcast idea, coming up with the title and stuff. But having a podcast has been on my mind for a very long time. And there are two reasons, First and foremost, I'm a little bit selfish. So I want to talk to wonderful people just like yourself so that I could grow, and this would be the best way to reach out to, and learn from your expertise. And also, my whole life has been all about change. I want to reach out to different people and tell them that, hey, change is not something that you need to be scared of. Like, embrace change. Sometimes we get so stuck up and so caught up. Like, I am an engineer. I worked in a corporate. Then I went into holistic wellness. Then I went into book publishing. So I just follow, and because I follow my calling and I give my 100%, by God's grace, I have always achieved success in whatever I do. And that is my kind of, message. Essentially, you're talking about the message. It's like, don't be scared of change, embrace it. Don't be scared of, the noise around you. Because if you focus and if you give your 100% to whatever you do, you will see, what do you call it? Light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
It's just about how you approach your life during these times of turmoil, essentially. So those are the kind of, two things. My podcast will be under my name itself, Parul Agrawal, and I'm still deciding on a subtitle. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm also moving back. So last year I moved to India. Now I'm moving back to US. And again, that has been a change with geographical location. So once hopefully I can make my podcast so viable that geographical location is not an issue, and
absolutely.
Wherever I go, I could still do whatever I'm doing.
Absolutely. Parul, there would be a lot of people, my audience, who would be interested to write book. And if they want to approach you, what are the steps that you would advise them to take? And how can they contact you so that you can make their dreams into reality and to make their books to be the best in best-selling books in the world?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for asking. And, I'm on social media through author Parul, so they could contact me via LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, however they want. My website, parulagrawal.com. The steps essentially, I always put myself in the author's shoes, and I look back at the time when I was really lost and I wanted to write a book. So I'm here to answer any questions, essentially. Even if they have a book in them, if they already have written their manuscript, that's a great place to start, because then I could help them if they really want to self-publish their book, or if they want to, publish through a publishing company. I could help them with the steps, essentially. but I'm here to just, be a listening ear and tell them that, hey, even if they do not have a book, they just have that idea in their mind, they can do it, and how they can get their idea on paper. And most of the time when authors or maybe, when people want to write, they're lost because they don't have any, and I just want to be that mentor, and I just want to be that guide. So even if you do not have anything right now and just need somebody to talk to, I'm there for you.
Oh, that's so kind of you. Parul, thank you very much for having you on the show. Before we wind up, what would you like to share about yourself, and what would you like to share to my audience?
Uh, right now, we're talking about books because that's what I do. So the number one thing I was worried about, like, hey, I'll write this book and there will be no take. Nobody is there to read my work. And let me tell you, there are enough takers. There's enough room out there in the world. Don't be scared of writing that book. All you need to do is write your manuscript and put it out there, and let the universe take care of everything else. Don't worry if there will be takers of your book. Don't worry if your story is powerful enough. Don't worry if the story has already been shared. If people are writing a nonfiction book, people are like, hey, there's so many entrepreneur books out there. There's so many books on self-help out, so many health books out there. Why will anybody read my book? People will read your book because they like you, they love you. They want to hear it from you. So don't, even if there are like thousands of books and millions of books and millions of people who are already out there in the field that you want to write a book about, don't worry about all this. Just focus on your final goal. And if you have that laser focus, then nobody can deviate you from your path and from your calling. So don't worry about anything. Just sit and write down that manuscript, finish it, and success will be yours at the end of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Parul Agrawal.